On this channel, we've covered a lot of moments in Spider-Man's life that have made us go,
"Hey yo, what the f-?"
Instead, today, in honor of the upcoming holidays, we're going to be celebrating moments in Spider-Man's life that made us go,
"Aw, that's nice."
like this moment where he gets to meet Spider-Gwen for the first time and say that he wasn't able to save the Gwen Stacy of his world, and she in turn couldn't save her Peter, and they make an agreement to watch after each other. Or this moment where Peter and Flash Thompson get to finally bury the hatchet and end a cycle of years of bullying. Who could forget the moment where Spider-Man finally got a win and was able to marry Mary Jane? Yeah, he did have to go through the loss of Gwen at one point, but my man was finally happy. And in some continuities, he even ends up becoming a father, which, speaking from experience, is one of the greatest gifts you can have. So it looks like things aren't always bad for the old webhead, which is good. He needs to catch a win. Part 2. I know we're all familiar with Clark Kent, Kal-El, the last son of Krypton, Superman. People say all the time that since Superman basically has no weaknesses and is overpowered, he can't be a relatable character. Or can he? Today we're talking about one of the most humanizing moments Superman had. In this issue, a woman was wanting to jump off a bridge, and Superman came to stop her. However, he wasn't going to forcibly remove her from the building. In fact, he just wanted to talk. He tries telling her that life is not unfair or fair. It just is. He tells her that he just thinks about saving just one person at a time, and says that life is just trying to push back against the darkness. But she doesn't want to talk at this point. She just wants to rest. So, Superman stays with her, all through the night. He says if she believes that there's at least a small chance that she might have one happy day to take his hand. And she does. And he says that she's safe now. Part 3. I'm sure over the last 80 years, we have all become familiar with the dynamic duo, the Caped Crusader and the Boy Wonder, Batman and Robin. In this story, we're specifically talking about Dick Grayson. In the first, Robin lost both of his parents in a tragic accident at a young age. Something that unfortunately, Bruce Wayne can relate to all too well. After witnessing that loss firsthand, Batman took in the young boy, and together they became the dynamic duo we know today. However, in Gotham Knights issue number 17, Batman took it a step further. At this point, Dick Grayson has moved far beyond the role of Robin and has now become Nightwing. Bruce hands him a piece of paper, trying to downplay its significance, saying it's just a gesture or even symbolic. And that's when we realize it's a letter of adoption. Bruce tells Dick if he doesn't want to sign it, he completely understands and doesn't want to step on his parents' legacy, and says that it really wouldn't change anything because he's always considered him his son. He starts stumbling his words and Nightwing says, "I get it and I love you too." Part 4. This is Batman issue 37, and as the title suggests, Batman and Superman go on a double date. Bruce, Clark, Selina, and Lois go to the Gotham County Fair, in which they're having a superhero night. The only problem is, they have to be in costume, and they really don't want to give away their identities. So they all end up switching costumes. Bruce with Clark, Selina with Lois. And after a little convincing from Selina, they're able to finally go in and have some fun. Well, everyone but Bruce. This man will never be happy. The couples are finally able to cut loose, enjoying time on a roller coaster, and even a tunnel of love. Except Bruce and Selina took that personally. Bruce and Clark even challenge each other at a batting cage, saying that Batman could hit a ball that Superman throws at Mach speed. Someone does steal Lois's purse, but the Super Friends work together and take the guy out pretty easily. Superman says, "Too bad I wasn't able to throw the ball." Batman says, "I know a place." With everyone in their clothes, Superman throws the pitch. Batman gets a home run. Wholesome moments in comics that made us go,
"Oh, that's cute. Now that I like."
Part 5. This is the Marvel Holiday Special, issue number 2, from 2008. This story starts off at Santa's workshop, where we see a very strange-looking reindeer. That's when we realize its nose was a grenade. And Santa's elves come in very well armed after the explosion. And that's when we see that the reindeer was Deadpool all along. He quickly dispatches an elf and sneaks deeper into Santa's workshop, where an armed Santa comes in, saying he should have finished Deadpool off when he had the chance. And of course, they begin to tussle. Santa shrinks to avoid getting hit and strikes Deadpool in the nose with a magical uppercut. Looks like old Saint Nick had Deadpool on the ropes. Until an abominable snowman broke in and stopped the fight. Well, that is until Deadpool took the beast down. After that, Deadpool and Santa stopped fighting, and it turns out Deadpool was after the naughty and nice list, as he was hired to erase someone's name from the bad list. And Santa and Deadpool squashed the beef by Santa giving Deadpool the Pez dispensers he always wanted. Part 6. This is Jarro, otherwise known as the best Robin, and you'll see why. Now you may be a little confused since he looks exactly like Starro the Conqueror, and there's a reason for that. Let me explain. Jarro is basically a version of Starro the Conqueror, but smaller, kept in a jar. Ergo, Jarro the Conqueror, technically. Batman begins researching this sentient starfish, and it begins to think that Batman's his dad. Even though Batman denies being Jarro's dad, obviously, the two begin to form a close relationship. Well, kind of one-sided, but you'll see what I mean. Jarro routinely rides Batman's shoulder, Jarro refers to Batman as dad consistently, and Batman refutes it under his breath. But Jarro has his own Robin costume, fights crime with Batman, and the two even share a loving embrace. And realistically, how often does Batman even do that with his own kids? Jarro is Batman's favorite son. Hands down. Part 7! I'm sure by now we're all familiar with the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man and the merc with the mouth, Deadpool. But did you know these two characters are kinda best friends? Let me explain. After the two of them get together and fight Santa, yes, Santa, the Omega-level mutant himself, the two of them meet on Christmas to exchange gifts, where Deadpool actually opens up and says that he's happy the two of them are friends. Peter says they're also happy that they're friends in a weird, twisted sense, and Deadpool asks, "Are we becoming best friends?" And unfortunately, Peter says no. But you see, that's all about to change once they give each other their gifts, because they both accidentally got each other matching sweaters that just so happened to be the bad boys, but with their masks. And that's where they drop the line, "We ride together, we die together, bad besties for life." It's just really nice to see two of Marvel's most tortured characters be able to enjoy each other's company and become friends. Part 8. I'm sure by now we're all familiar with Bruce Wayne Batman and his son, Damian Wayne. And throughout his short publication history, he's been known as being strong, arrogant, and kind of stubborn. And after a certain mission, Batman was willing to walk away and call it quits. In Batman and Robin issue number 14, there's some really weird shenanigans going on. I mean, what the heck's going on over here? Anyway, that's besides the point. In a classic dad way, Batman comes in to save the day, and scolds Damian for shutting his comlink off, saying it was impulsive. And after the mission's complete, they get into a very wordy argument, culminating with Batman saying, "I don't know what else to say. I'm not sure if this is going to work out." Bruce then tells his son, "You don't care about anyone else but yourself." And he responds, "But I do, father," as he sets a pearl from a necklace down on the table in front of Batman, one of the pearls from Martha Wayne's necklace the night she was taken. Damian spent multiple issues trying to find a single pearl for his dad, who says he's proud of him and gives him a warm embrace. Part 9. We're all familiar with the last son of Krypton, the Man of Steel, Superman. What about the time he shouldered the weight of the world for Atlas? Yes, friends, that's right. In today's story, Superman swaps places with the Titan Atlas. Before swapping places, Superman asks Atlas if there's anything he needs to know. And Superman asks Atlas, "How much does it weigh?" And he responds with, "The most you can bear, plus more." He tells Superman not to lift with his hands, but his heart, and disappears. And with Superman gone, Metropolis is defenseless. Or so you think. Because while he is gone, people do step in to help. Whether it be Supergirl, Black Canary, or even Firestorm the Nuclear Man. And after a while, Atlas does return. And that's where we find out where he actually went. As it turns out, Atlas went to his daughter's wedding. Something that no father would want to miss. And he tells Superman, "You've given me a day of memories I will cherish for eternity." He then tags back in for Superman, who justifiably takes a well-deserved nap. This is Ultimate Spider-Man issue number 1 by Jonathan Hickman, and it basically single-handedly redeems everything that's happened to him over the years, and really makes us all go,
Aw, that's nice.
but let me explain. The story starts off by us seeing a slightly older, bearded Peter Parker, who's getting ready for his day and actually puts on a wedding ring, which makes you think, who is this Peter married to? Peter goes out into his dining room and sees his 2 children, which is a shock, considering we all know that Spider-Man is not allowed to be happy in Marvel. He has a son and daughter, Richard and May Parker. And that iconic red hair can only mean one thing. In this universe, he was able to marry and start a family with MJ. And we're able to see that the entire family has a wonderful dynamic and an excellent relationship. But there are some universal constants as he goes to work and is greeted by J. Jonah Jameson. But he wasn't screaming for Peter Parker, he was screaming for Ben Parker. Yeah, in this universe, Uncle Ben's alive, and he runs the Daily Bugle with J. Jonah Jameson. Peter and Ben were going out for the day, and Jonah remarks that Peter's not wearing a tie, and he literally gives him the one off of his neck. Finally, after all of this time, Peter gets a good life. Wholesome moments in comics that made us go,
Aw, that's nice.
Part 10. This is Batman and Robin, specifically Tim Drake, and recently I covered in Messed Up Moments in Comics how Tim Drake's dad lost his life. After this, he was obviously distraught, and Batman took him in. Well, I mean, they were already working together, but a little more so as you'll see. Bruce offers Tim Drake Dick Grayson's old room, and tells him that he, at one point, wanted Dick Grayson to feel secure. And Dick Grayson was made Batman's legal ward for security. However, unfortunately, Batman tells Tim laws have changed, and he would no longer be able to adopt somebody as his legal ward. Instead, he'd have to legally adopt him as his son. Bruce tells Tim he would never want to impose on his real father's legacy, and the boy begins to cry. Batman's hands begin to shake due to the sheer emotion of the scene. And he embraces the boy, saying it'll all be fine.